Okay, welcome everybody to your 2021 open enrollment. Here on the screen, you'll see the items that we're going to be covering today. So there is a change in the medicals going from Aetna to Blue Cross Blue Shield, and we'll go over those changes in detail. We're going to go over the dental plans and the vision plans that are not changing. We'll go over the voluntary life and short-term and long-term disability. They are moving from the current provider, which is Unum, over to MetLife, and then we'll go over some of the voluntary options that are available. So open enrollment starts today and will terminate on November 24th. That means that we would like to have all of the enrollment information back in our office by the 24th. The elections that you will make are effective January 1st, 2021 until December 21st, 2021. Eligibility, so all those employees that have met the eligibility criteria are eligible for benefits, aside from yourself, your legal spouse, a domestic partner, and children up to the age of 26. As I stated earlier, those coverages began January 1st, and you are locked in for those for full 12 months. You cannot make any changes to your benefits that are pre-tax, medical, dental, vision, HSA or FSA deductions, other than lowering your contribution amount for your HSA for that entire year, unless you experience a qualified event. And on the screen are some examples. So marriage, divorce, birth of a child, loss of coverage, things of that nature. That's when you have 31 days from the date of that event to notify your HR team that you would like to review your benefits and potentially make a change. If you do not contact us within those 31 days, we will have to wait until the next open enrollment period to make a change. We're going to go over the medical plans. So it is the plans are moving, or the coverage is moving from Aetna to Blue Cross Blue Shield. So we're going to go over the plans in detail. This first plan is a PPO 1000. So this PPO 1000 is a national network that encompasses all of the United States. The individual deductible on this plan is $1,000 and the family deductible is $2,000. On this plan, when your deductible is going to come into play is with major medical, inpatient services, hospitalization, surgery, and outpatient surgery, MRIs, CAT scans, PET scans, and durable medical equipment. You now have co-pays for most services, so that's going to include your diagnostic blood draws, your x-rays. Those are going to be now co-pays based on where you have those services rendered. For example, if you go to your primary care physicians to have lab work done, you're going to pay that $25 copay. If you go to a specialist for an x-ray, you're going to pay that $50 copay. So the deductible is not going to apply for those types of services anymore. Staying with this plan, so if you meet that deductible in a calendar year, you're going to go into that co-insurance with Blue Cross. You're responsible for 20% of charges until you reach that out-of-pocket maximum. Keep in mind your deductible, your co-insurance, and all co-pays go towards meeting that out-of-pocket maximum. So if you meet your deductible as an individual, your out-of-pocket maximum is now $3,000. And again, all co-pays for doctor visits, urgent care specialists, and pharmacy all go towards meeting that in emergency room as well. So all go towards that out-of-pocket maximum. Your preventative care services, so your age-appropriate wellness exams, any lab work that needs to be done, those are all going to be covered at 100% with no out-of-pocket cost. Your office visit, a sick visit, a walk-in clinic is a $25 copay. Your specialist, which you may self-refer to, is a $50 copay. And this is new information that Blue Cross Blue Shield just shared. So with your office visits or your primary care doctor, medical check, prescription check, or specialist virtual type visits are at no cost until the pandemic is over. It is safe to go out into your provider's office. So zero copay. So if you can schedule those visits with your regular doctor or your specialist virtually, there will be no cost associated with that. Urgent care, that's going to be $75 per visit. Emergency room, it's a $250 copay per visit. And if you have to be admitted, that $250, one of two things is going to happen. It's going to be applied to your deductible, or they're going to waive that cost, and then you're going to start to pay towards your deductible. That's for your emergency room services. And then prescription. So your generic drugs are going to be the lesser of. So the local pharmacies have $4 generics. The most you're going to pay for generic drugs under this plan is going to be $10. Your brand name preferred medications up to $35, and your brand name non-preferred are $60 or $120, depending on where it falls. I do have the full list of the pharmacy. If you would like to take a look at it, I can send it and include it in the email. And take a look at the preventative drug list, the tier 1, 2, and 3, and of course the specialty drug tier. So with Blue Cross Blue Shield under specialty, there are 4 additional tiers. So in total, 8 tiers under Blue Cross Blue Shield. I'll send an email with all that information so you can take a look at it, see where your particular prescription falls. Or if you have questions in regards where your prescription falls, you can email me and I'll happily assist, send you the link or the PDF document with all the prescriptions and what the copay would be. The next plan here is another PPO plan. Again, this is a national network. So this is a $2,000 individual deductible and a $4,000 family deductible. Same scenario here, when that deductible is going to come into play with major services, inpatient, outpatient, hospitalization, MRIs, CAT scans, PET scans, durable medical equipment. That's when that's going to come into play. If you don't need those services, you don't have to worry about your deductible. So once you meet your deductible, if you meet it, you're going to go into that cost share with Blue Cross. You're responsible for 20% of the cost until you meet that out-of-pocket maximum. $6,350 as an individual, $12,700 as a family. So your deductible, your co-insurance, and all of your co-pays for all services go towards meeting that out-of-pocket maximum. Preventative care services, again, age-appropriate exams, any lab work associated with those exams, flu shots, the shingles vaccine or pneumonia vaccine when age appropriate are at no cost. Office visits on this plan, again, this is going to be a walk-in to your doctor's office or a walk-in clinic, convenience care clinic. Those are going to be at a $30 copay. Your specialist is a $60 copay. And again, if you do have those calls with your providers and their virtual calls or Skype calls or telephonic visits with your doctor or specialist, it's at $0 copay. Urgent care, $75 per visit. Emergency room, $250. And same as a previous plan, if you have to be admitted, they're either going to waive the $250 or apply it towards your deductible. Your pharmacy is exactly the same. So your generic drugs, you're going to pay the lesser of whatever the cost is at the pharmacy, or up to $10. That's the max that you'll pay. Brand name preferred is up to $35, and then brand name non-preferred is going to be $60 or $120. And then again, you have those 4 additional tiers under specialty drugs. And again, if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer any questions in regards to where your particular prescription falls, or I can send you the information. Any questions on these 2 PPO plans? Okay, we're going to move to the next. Go ahead.
Where will they see what the payroll deduction is, what the cost is to the employee?
So there are 2 deduction worksheets or enrollment worksheets that are going to be emailed to Dr. Dellin, and he's going to send them. He's going to send them out to the employees. He's going to send them out to everyone. So there's 2 different forms that need to go to him.
Well, there's 2 different forms because the employed providers, the nurse practitioners and PAs, will have a contribution from the group of about $200 per plan, whereas the physicians will have to add that there won't be a group contribution, so they'll have a different deductible. But for those that are already receiving the Aetna or getting the Aetna plan this year, the deductibles are, what was the average rise, Leticia, like 6 or 7%?
It averaged out between 4.6%, just under 5% was the average increase in the premium.
Okay.
And yeah. I know that Rocky Mountain made up that difference by increasing their contribution.
Yeah. So we increased the contribution for the employed providers, and the overall plan amounts the email that I forwarded from Leticia has a PDF with the premiums, but they're in a bi-weekly, every 2-week format. So I'll send out new premium schedules with the monthly cost to all the providers here after we're done with the webinar.
Yes, so I'll send those over to you as per our conversation, and then you're going to send them out to the appropriate person. Thank you. Any questions on the plans? Okay, these two plans here on the board are on the screen. I'm sorry, there are one high deductible health plan and another high deductible health plan, but with copays. And we'll talk about the differences here. So the first plan here is a 3,000 HDHP or high deductible health plan. This is an HSA qualified plan, which means if you have an HSA account today with UMB Bank, you do not need to open a new HSA account. You just need to re-enroll in a high deductible health plan, and then you can put your pre-tax or you can fund that HSA account however you want to fund it. We'll go over the IRS maximums in the next couple screens as well. So the high deductible.
Quick question, Leticia.
Yes.
Does it have to be with that bank that you just mentioned? If I have an HSA account with a different bank, is that acceptable?
It is acceptable. The only, probably for yourself, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but for the employed providers, it helps with those pre-tax deductions, lowering their taxable income. But you can fund an HSA account any way you want to fund it. As long as you don't exceed those IRS maximums, you can fund your own HSA bank account and use your own card. If you already have one today and you just want to continue to fund that, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, great, thanks.
You're welcome. So again, the PPO 3000, so all services on this plan are going to be subject to your deductible. So your doctor visit, your specialist visit, your emergency room, your urgent care, any medications that are not preventative are going to be subject to your deductible. And on this plan, your preventative care, your age-appropriate screenings and lab work, FDA-approved contraceptives, and preventative drugs are free without deductible, without any copays. So there is a list of preventative drugs that I can send if you want to see if your particular medication falls under that list. And it is a pretty extensive list. If you're on any maintenance medication or preventative type medication, chances are it's going to be in that list without any copays. So on this plan, your deductible comes into play. It's at $3,000 for an individual, $6,000 for the family. And then you're going to pay 10% of all charges until you reach that out-of-pocket maximum. Once you reach that out-of-pocket maximum, you're covered at 100% with no additional cost in network in that calendar year. And again, this is an HSA qualified plan, which means if you have your own HSA account and you want to fund it, you can. Just keep in mind the IRS maximums. And then you can use those dollars for yourself, your spouse, and qualified dependents to pay for all services, medical, dental, vision. The next plan here is a PPO 6350. That is the individual deductible, and $12,700 is the family deductible. Yes, the deductible is high, but this plan has copays associated with it. Therefore, it does not qualify for an HSA, but it does qualify for an FSA or flexible spending account, which we'll go over here shortly. So this plan is a 6350 individual, $12,700. That is also going to be your out-of-pocket maximum. So if you met your deductible, you've also met your out-of-pocket maximum. And at that point, you're covered at 100% in network in that calendar year. Your preventative care services, so your age-appropriate screenings and lab are going to be covered at 100%. Your office visit is a $25 copay. Specialist is $50 copay. Now, if you schedule those visits virtually, there's no copays associated at this time. Your urgent care is a $75 per visit. Emergency room is $250 per visit. Now I'm going to back up to the high deductible health plan because I want to just let everyone know that those virtual visits also apply to the high deductible health plan right now because of the COVID pandemic. So if you are on that high deductible health plan and you need to schedule a doctor visit outside of the wellness with your regular doctor or a specialist and it's a virtual visit, there are zero copays associated. Going back to the 6350, the pharmacy is going to be exactly the same on this plan, and the pharmacy is available at copays before your deductible. So again, your generics, you're going to pay the lesser of up to $10 per prescription. Your brand name medication is $35 or up to $35. Your brand name non-preferred is $60 or $120, and then you have 4 additional tiers under that specialty. You also have mail orders. So Blue Cross Blue Shield uses Express Scripts, so you get 90 days of prescriptions for 2 retail copays. So you save 1 copay for those medications. Your doctor does have to write you a 90-day script in order to fill it. Any questions on these 2 plans? Okay. So going over the HSA, so great thing to pair with your high deductible health plan. So there's a few qualifiers to enroll in an HSA. Number 1, you have to be covered by a high deductible health plan, which you have being offered here. Number 2, you cannot be covered by another non-high deductible health plan. So if you're on a spouse's plan, a domestic partner's plan, some kind of a plan, or TRICARE, any plan that has co-pays before your deductible, you are excluded from being able to open an HSA account. You cannot be enrolled in any part of Medicare, and you cannot be claimed as a dependent on somebody else's tax returns. So those are the qualifiers for the HSA. As I stated before, you can fund your HSA account however you would like. You just can't exceed the IRS maximums. For the 2021 plan year, it's $3,600 for an individual, $7,200 for a family. And then if you are 55 or over and not enrolled in Medicare, you may add an additional $1,000, making it $4,600 and $8,200. The HSA account is owned by you. It is your bank account. There is no use it or lose it provisions. You may use those dollars for yourself, your spouse, and qualified dependents for pretty much all services that medical, dental, vision, or anything that a doctor can write a prescription for. You may use it for chiropractic services. You may use it for massages if your doctor writes you a prescription for it. There's also convenient on Amazon, the HSA store and the FSA store. So if there's items that you need to purchase, like contact solution, you may do so with your HSA dollars. Again, this is your account, and if you're enrolled today in the high deductible health plan and you have your UMB account open, you do not need to open a new account. If you have an existing HSA account and you just want to fund it on your own, you can also do that. Any questions on the high deductible health plan or the HSA? Now we're going to move to the flexible spending account. So the flexible spending account is similar to an HSA, as whatever you elect is a pre-tax deduction assisting in lowering that taxable income. For an FSA, the maximum for the 2021 plan year is $2,500. This has a $500 carryover into the following year. Anything in excess of $500 on December 31st of that current plan year will be lost. So this is one that you probably want to review what your copays are going to be for your pharmacy, doctor visits, and if anything, I would say a minimum or maximum of $500 so you don't lose any of those dollars. Also, if you leave the company, you do not take it with you. It is turned off. One of the benefits of a flexible spending account or an FSA is that the amount that you elect is available day one to utilize immediately. So if you know in January, beginning of the year, you're going to have medical services, paying for braces, you can put aside up to $2,500 and start using it immediately. And then it's payroll deducted for the rest of the calendar year. You also have the dependent care FSA or flexible spending account. So this, again, pre-tax deductions, you may elect up to $5,000 per year to go into this account. And the money is put into the account. You can use those dollars to pay for child care or elderly care services, or you can use it to pay yourself back once you've paid out of pocket for those services to those providers. Any questions on these 2 plans? Okay. We're going to move forward. The next plan we're going to go over is the telemedicine that's effective January 1 with Blue Cross Blue Shield. It is called Blue Care Anywhere. So today we know Teladoc is the service that's associated with Aetna beginning of the year. It will be Blue Care Anywhere. You will have medical, counseling, and psychiatry services at no cost to you and all members enrolled in your plan. So you will get a welcome kit with your ID card, and it's going to have additional information on Blue Care Anywhere. You can go and you can register online or download the app to your telephone, so it's ready to go whenever you need it. All right, we're going to go over the dental plans with Delta Dental. So no changes to these plans. They stayed the same, and the premium did not go up either. So the PPO plan is a bucket of money, if you will, to use towards dental services for yourself and any family members enrolled. So each person has the $1,500. And then you have an additional $1,000 to use towards child orthodontia, and that's a one-time lifetime benefit. So preventative care services are covered at 100%, so cleanings twice a year. You also get a third cleaning if you have a coronary heart disease or are currently pregnant, and it is on the honor system, so the provider should not ask you for any medical proof. You just need to let them know that you qualify for that third cleaning. Basic services under this plan are going to be your cavities, your emergency extractions, emergency services. They're going to be covered at 80%, and you pick up 20% of the cost. Your major services are going to be like your crowns, endodontics, periodontics. That is a 50-50 cost share. If you utilize the basic or major services, you will be subject to a one-time deductible of $50 as an individual or $150 as a family. Now, if you never utilize those basic or major services, you never have to worry about that deductible. This plan also has out-of-network benefits. They pay exactly the same as in-network. The difference between the in-network and the out-of-network providers, the out-of-network providers will take whatever Delta Dental pays them, but then they have the ability to balance bill you the difference because they do not have an agreement or a contract with Delta Dental. The next plan we have here is the DHMO plan. So this is a smaller network. This is a plan that does not have a deductible. It does not have an annual maximum. You still have your cleanings twice a year, and then additional cleanings are at $40. Your basic services, major services, and orthodontia are all going to be covered under a fee schedule. So this is an example of the fee schedule. So pages out of the fee schedule that was part of the invite that went out. So this has all the dental codes for all the procedures, and the dollar amounts associated with those codes is what you will pay out of pocket. It is not a benefit towards a service, but is your total cost. This plan does have all services included, child orthodontia and adult orthodontia, teeth bleaching, implants, dentures, and everything that you can think of. You do have to select a primary dentist on this plan, and you and all of your dependents may have different providers. You can also change providers at any time during the year. If you want to enroll in this plan or enroll in this plan and don't select a provider, Delta Care will assign a provider based on your home zip code. You can change that provider at any time again, either by calling Delta Care or going online and choosing a new provider. Also, if there are children that are going to be enrolled in this plan, the child pediatrics goes up to age 8. Any child enrolled in this plan above 8 years old is going to be regular dentistry. So make sure that the dentist is not submitting pediatric codes because they will not be covered. Any questions on the dental plan? Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Went too fast. So the next is the vision plan. So no changes to the vision plan in coverage or cost. It stayed exactly the same. So your eye exam is going to be available every 12 months, and it is a rolling 12 months. So if you went on July 1st, 2020 for your eye exam, you have to wait until July 1st, 2021 or thereafter to schedule your eye exam. Your frames, you have a $120 allowance to use towards your frames and then a 20% discount. Yes, 20% discount. And then your lenses. Now, these are plastic lenses. If you buy up, there's going to be an upcharge. So plastic lenses, single vision, bifocal, and trifocal is a $10 copay. Your contact lenses available every 12 months in lieu of the lenses for your frames is an $80 allowance and then 15% discount over the balance. Medically necessary contact lenses are going to be covered in full. And this is using iMed with the Insight network. So when you go online to search for a provider, make sure you select the Insight network. And that information is also available in your benefit guide. All right, next coverage here. So this is the voluntary coverage for life insurance. It is moving from Unum to MetLife. So if you're currently enrolled in the Unum life insurance short-term or long-term plan, you will have to complete a new form. If you don't know how much life insurance you have, you can reach out to your HR representative, which is Nancy Gaitan, and she can tell you how much you have. Or if you already know, you just write it in, or if you just want to keep it exactly the same and don't want to bother, you can do that. So I'll go over that form so you know the steps that need to be taken. So everyone working 20 plus hours is eligible for the life insurance. It is 5 times your annual earnings up to $500,000. Guarantee issue, which means no medical underwriting, is 5 times annual earnings up to $200,000 for yourself, $25,000 for the spouse, and $10,000 for the children. This plan does not have a benefit reduction. The current Unum plan does have a benefit reduction. So whatever you purchase, that's what you have until the termination of the policy. So I'm going to bring up really quick the MetLife form. So this is what it looks like. It is part of the invite that went out to everybody. So if you're enrolling in the MetLife for the first time, so the life insurance, the short-term disability, or the long-term disability, this is the form that you need to complete. We don't need division or department. We just need your demographic information here in section 2. If you're enrolling for the first time, you want to click new enrollment. If you're increasing what you currently have today, you want to say change enrollment. And then you're going to indicate here what type of coverage you want to purchase. So if it's for yourself, spouse, or children, you can select that and type in the amount that you're going to be purchasing or how much you're going to be increasing it to. If you have existing life insurance and you don't want to change it, you can click on the box and just type in keep the same, and we'll know to roll that coverage over. Also on this form, this is a short-term and long-term disability, same scenario. Select what you want to be enrolled in, and we'll know to keep it the same. If you're enrolling and you are married, you do need to complete this for yourself and children. Then section 5 is going to be where you put your beneficiary information. So this is section 5. This is the most important probably of the form. Make sure you indicate who the beneficiary is or are, and you need to just make sure it totals 100%. And then contingencies, you can also add them to the bottom. And then just going to go through this form really quick since I'm on it. So if you scroll through this form and you're enrolling for the first time, it gives you additional information on the life insurance. It gives you more details than I have on the PowerPoint presentation. It also gives you the rate or the cost. So you can go through here, and if there's an amount that you're interested in that is not listed on this table, you can contact me or Nancy, and we'll be happy to give you what the premium will be. It also has a premium for your spouse and the children. The rates for the long-term disability and short-term disability are also going to be in this packet, and you're just going to continue to scroll through it, and it gives you additional details on the short-term disability, what it covers, when it begins, and then the rates. So this is going to be based on your age and based on your salary. So there's instructions here on how to calculate that, but again, we can assist if you need assistance. Next is going to be the short and long-term disability. So again, this is changing to MetLife. Make sure you complete that form if you want to keep your coverage or enroll in it for the first time. The benefit starts to pay after the 14th day or at the 14th day of sickness, illness, or hospitalization. The benefit pays 60% of your pre-disability earnings, which is now including your base salary, commissions, and bonus, and it pays up to $1,000 a week. The benefit duration is 11 weeks on this plan, and then there is a pre-existing limitation. We'll go over that here shortly. The long-term disability begins to pay at the termination of the short-term disability or the 90th day. Again, it covers 60% of your pre-disability earnings up to $7,500 a month. And this long-term disability plan lasts until age 65 or normal Social Security retirement age. This also has a pre-existing limitation. Now, if you are enrolled today in the short-term or the long-term disability, you've already satisfied that 12-month waiting period. If you're enrolling for the first time, it has a pre-existing limitation, which is called a 312. What that means is if 3 months prior to the effective date you took medication, saw a provider, or were diagnosed with a condition in which you go out on leave in 2021, it will not be paid. It will be excluded for 12 months. If it's something completely unrelated, then it most likely will be paid. Any questions on the life, short-term, or long-term disability? Okay. The EAP program, so this is available to everyone, whether they're enrolled in the benefits or not. It is a free service, so it provides 3 face-to-face consultations per incident per family member. Aside from the telephonic help that it has or provides, it also has a website that you can go check out. Provides self-help videos, tutorials, and then discounts on items in your community. Again, this service is available to everyone, and it is 100% confidential. Do we have anybody from AFLAC on the phone?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Yay, Ashley's
This is
here.
Ashley.
So, hi, Ashley. We have
Oh,
Ashley, and she's
hello.
going to go over the new AFLAC products that are being offered.
Okay, so we'll do a quick recap if there's any new people who don't know what AFLAC is. I'm sure you guys have all seen, the commercials on TV. But to review, it is supplemental insurance that you can put in place that's going to pay you. So it's all voluntary. There is an accident plan that pays for on or off the job injuries, a critical illness plan that pays out a lump sum for a specific disease, a hospital plan, which is more broad coverage, and then a different short-term disability policy. So with these new group plans that are being offered, there could be richer benefits and also provide some cost savings from what you're currently enrolled in or paying for. And then I also want to point out that all of these policies are guaranteed issues, so there's no health questions that you would need to answer for any of these plans. So let's go ahead and review the accident plan first. Again, that pays for any on or off the job injury, and it pays based on the treatment that you have done. So all the way from something small like you cut your hand, twisted your ankle, to something more major like maybe you get in a car accident, wreck your ATV on the weekend, anything like that. So AFLAC pays a schedule of benefits based on the treatment that you had done. So for example, like one of those small injuries that I just did for an example, you would get $200 just for going into urgent care for an injury, and then they're going to pay you based on what they do. So stitches, if you had cut your hand, for example, you'd be paid based on how deep your cut is, how many stitches there are. You'd also receive compensation for each additional follow-up treatment if you had to come back for a follow-up visit. Something more major, like maybe you did get in a car accident, it's going to pay you $400 for the ambulance ride. Being admitted into the hospital, you get paid $1,250. And then it's going to, again, pay on what they do while you're in the hospital. If you had to have any type of like CT scan or an MRI, you'd be paid $200. And then fractures, dislocations, burns, all of those are dependent on how bad the injury is. But those get up into the thousands depending on how bad that is. Then also on the accident policy, it also includes accidental death life insurance. So it's going to pay out $50,000 for the employee, heaven forbid they pass away due to an accident. The spouse would be $25,000. And then any dependent child is going to be covered on that policy for $10,000. Also want to point out a main difference in this accident policy is the wellness benefits. So on the traditional AFLAC policy that was offered last year, there was a $60 wellness benefit each year if you had like a physical, had your teeth cleaned, an eye exam. This year with the group policy, you actually get to receive compensation for each covered person on your policy. So for the first year, it's going to pay out $25 per covered person. So you, your spouse, and any children for physical or teeth cleaning, eye exam, things like that. And then from year 2 to 5 of having the policy, it's going to pay out $50 per wellness benefit. And then once you get to year 6, it's actually going to pay $75 per physical, which most of us have that done anyway. So you can kind of factor that in with the cost. So that does provide a lot more cost savings. Any questions on the accident policy? Okay, let's look at critical illness. So this group critical illness is a guaranteed issue. You get to choose either a $15,000 or a $30,000 benefit amount, which means in the event that you were diagnosed with a heart attack, sudden cardiac arrest, a major organ transplant, a bone marrow transplant, which is a stem cell transplant, kidney failure, stroke, or internal cancer, you would be paid out that $15,000 or that $30,000 benefit amount. There's also a skincare benefit that's included. It paid $250 if someone had to have skin cancer removed. And then there is a health screening benefit on this plan as well. And it would pay out $50 for the employee or the spouse. I don't believe children are covered on that one for the wellness benefit, but it would pay out $50 if you had a health screening for you or a spouse. If you do cover yourself and a spouse or just yourself on the critical illness policy, children are covered for free on the plan. They just are not subject to that health screening benefit. So again, that's a guaranteed issue and would pay out that lump sum amount to you in the event of that diagnosis, and then you can use the money however you want. So next, we'll jump into hospital. So this is more broad coverage. The hospital policy is going to pay out for any reason you're admitted to the hospital. So that could be due to a sickness, due to an injury, due to a planned surgery, childbirth, any admission to the hospital, it's going to pay out $2,000. If you were in the hospital additional days, to get the $2,000 for being admitted, and then each additional day you're in the hospital, you'd receive $200. If you were in ICU, you'd receive $200 each day you're in ICU. And then if you moved into a step-down unit, you'd receive $100 per day. Also on the hospital plan, there is a $50 health screening benefit per covered person on that policy as well. So really you can, if you had all 3 policies and you went and had a physical that qualified, you can file those for each policy and receive compensation for that. And then very last, they're going to continue and offer short-term disability. So this just allows you to customize your short-term disability policy. So with the AFLAC short-term disability, there are 2 different options. There's a 3-month or a 6-month plan, meaning it can cover you up to 3 months or up to 6 months that a doctor says that you have to take time off of work. And the elimination periods that are optional to pick from are a 0-7 or a 0-14. So that 0 means how many days you have to wait for an off-the-job injury. So a 0 meaning it would pay the very first day that you had to miss work and would cover up until you return to work. And for a sickness, either the first 7 days are excluded or the first 14 days. So you get to choose what you'd like to cover yourself for on that policy. And then the benefit amount you can cover yourself for is up to 67% of your monthly income. So again, this is a guaranteed issue. We can just cover your income. We cannot cover a spouse's. And there is a 1-year look back on pre-existing for short-term disability. So anything that you have spoken to a doctor about or had treatment in the 12-month period before the policy goes into effect, that specific thing would be excluded for the first year. Anything that is new obviously would be covered right away, or anything that you haven't talked to a doctor, maybe talk to them 3 years ago, 5 years ago, you're good to go right away with that. So then for making an enrollment, or if you need to make changes, if you're an existing policyholder, you'll be contacted by an AFLAC agent to discuss the plans that you currently have, and then also looking at the group policies to see if it would be more beneficial for you to move to the group policies. And you can also schedule a appointment by using the link provided and then someone will reach out to you from AFLAC to do a one-on-one consultation to help you enroll. Or if you have additional questions, you can email Jose, and his phone number is listed there, and he can help you as well. So I know that was quick. Are there any questions on any of the AFLAC plans we discussed? Okay, that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you.
So other voluntary benefits that are still available, the pet health care. So this is one that you do have to go online to the unitedpetcare.com/CBR website to enroll. It's a good place to start because you can enter your zip code and see if any of the veterinarians that you utilize today are already part of the network. So it is a payroll deduction as well. So you're free to enroll. It does cover all breeds and pets except for fish. So there is also a flyer that was included in your invite that has additional details and also the monthly cost. Legal Shield and ID Shield. So Legal Shield is a suite of attorneys that are at your disposal to use for many things. So one of them is litigation, power of attorneys, living wills, trust, trial defense attorneys, and they do have 24/7 emergency services if needed. And then ID Shield helps monitor your credit and make sure that no one is trying to assume your identity, either by taking on additional debt or going out to the internet, making sure no one has any information. They also, if you're a victim of identity theft, they help with the restoration of your identity with all of the legwork to the creditors, the law enforcement, and the credit bureaus. And you may enroll in this plan for yourself, your dependents, one or both of them. And there is also a flyer included in the invite. You do have to enroll online for this particular coverage. Next step, so we showed the MetLife form. That needs to come back only if you're enrolling in the voluntary MetLife life coverage, life and AD&D, the short-term or the long-term disability. That's what we'll need back from you if you're doing that. If you're going to be enrolling in the flexible spending account or the FSA, we'll need that form back. That does not automatically renew or roll over. So I'll go over that form really quick. It's this form here labeled task, and it's also part of the invite. It's labeled additional benefit offerings packet. So if you're enrolling the flexible spending account, this is the one we need back. This is the Legal Shield and ID Shield information with a link on where to enroll. And then at the bottom here is the cost of the coverage. The United Pet Care, again, the good place to start is going to the website here, typing in your zip code and see if there's any providers in your area or any veterinarians that are already part of the plan. And then here's the cost at the bottom. It is payroll deducted and you do have to enroll online. And the support link, this is your EAP provider. So this is available to all employees. It's got, some information here on what kind of services there are, and then of course how to register either online or via your telephone. And then finally, what Ashley was speaking about, the AFLAC information. This gives you a little bit of detail of what she went over. And then the last form is a interest form for AFLAC. If you are interested, you can complete this, send it back to us, and we'll make sure AFLAC gets it. You can call directly, go email Jose, or go to thetimetrade.com and schedule an appointment online with an AFLAC representative. Other than that, the other thing that we need back from everybody is the enrollment form. Those will be going out shortly after the call, and then expect to receive those. I will also be sending out the YouTube link for the presentation. Please feel free to share for those that were not able to attend the meeting today. So with that, does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you everybody for your time, and I will be sending out the information shortly. Have a great afternoon.